is the 26th March 2024, and it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday right here, and I also would like to thank our Super Citizen listeners for always being a part of our mornings. And we'd like to, implore that we call in and join the conversation. Let us know what you think about the headlines, the stories that are trending, as well as that this is our own country, and we would like to hear from you as well. My name is Sharon Smith, and it's time to kickstart this morning's paper review. And definitely we'll be joined by our in-house analyst, Mr. Salman Salami, later today, and then he is a seasoned journalist and also the chief operating officer of Citizen 93.7 FM. And as usual, we'll take a look at a number of newspapers across the national dailies. We'll take a look at the Punch newspaper, Daily Trust, Vanguard this day, The Guardian, Nigerian Tribune, The Nation newspaper, and also Leadership newspaper. And as usual, we'd like to kickstart our review with the Punch newspaper this morning. Once again, I'd like to let you know that it's important to call in at the half-hour mark as we review and analyze the stories with our in-house analyst, Mr. Salman Salami. Good morning, sir.
Very good morning to you, Shion, and good morning to you, our Super Citizen listeners. We are here because of you. We expect your call.
Yes, as always, Super Citizen, we are here for you, and we expect to hear from you. And now, without wasting much time, let's take a look at the cover page. It says here that Binance chief, federal government contacts Interpol, soldiers held over detainees escape. Binance chief, federal government contacts Interpol, soldiers held over detainees escape. This is on the cover page. So to tell you, it's a very interesting story, so to say. It says here that the federal government on Monday contacted the International Criminal Police Organization and issued an arrest warrant for the apprehension of one of the detained executives of a global cryptocurrency firm, Binance, Nadim Anjarwalla, who escaped from lawful custody on Friday. It is also gathered from the Office of the National Security Advisor that Nadim, a suspect in the probe into the activities of Binance in Nigeria, used a Kenyan passport to escape while his colleague was still in custody. Apparently, he has a British and Kenyan. He has British and Kenyan nationalities. He escaped from Abuja through a Middle East airliner as his firm in Nigeria confirmed that Nadim was no longer in the country, adding that the company would cooperate with security agencies. And now, on the latest news on the Punch newspaper, it says that Anambra man jailed 10 years for defiling 9-year-old daughter. Nigerians may spend over 725 billion naira on 2024 Hajj. Nigerians may spend over 725 billion naira on 2024 Hajj. Federal government deducts 415 billion naira state allocations for debt servicing. And now we see that federal government threatens Gumi with arrest, condemns reckless statement. Federal government threatens Gumi with arrest, condemns reckless statement. U.S. Supreme Court considers abortion pill restriction. Now I would also see on the top news on the Punch newspaper that Labour Party dares NLC insist on Wednesday convention. Labour Party dares NLC insist on Wednesday convention. CBN directs BDCs to sell dollar at 1,269 naira. And also Igbo Gani Adams on warpath over assassination allegation. Igbo Gani Adams on warpath over assassination allegation. You find the stories on the Punch newspaper this morning. I would also see lastly here that Rivers police kill court commander during shootout. Rivers police kill court commander during shootouts. And now quickly on Daily Trust, our newspaper, the cover page reads, after 8 years of saving, I still cannot go to Hajj, intending pilgrim lament. After 8 years of saving, I still cannot go to Hajj, intending pilgrim lament. Banditry, security agencies invited Gumi for questioning, says federal government. Security agencies invited Gumi for questioning, says the federal government. And now, still taking a look at the Daily Trust newspaper. He's here. Plateau communal clash. Plateau communal clash. Police deploy operatives to affected communities. Police deploy operatives to affected communities. Budget padding. PRP calls for forensic audit review of Ningi's suspension. Budget padding. PRP calls for forensic audit review of Ningi's suspension. Federal government committed to making Nigeria hub for African innovation, says the minister. Federal government committed to making Nigeria hub for African innovation. Editors express concern over insecurity. Editors express concern over insecurity. Terrorism. Mamu threatens to sue AGF Fagbemi over publication. Mamu threatens to sue AGF Fagbemi over publication. And now the United Nations assures NDLEA of support. UN assures NDLEA of support. We'd also see here on Daily Trust newspaper that the federal government OK's Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund. Federal government OK's Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund. Reps probe vandalization of railway tracks. Reps probe vandalization of railway tracks. And lastly, we see that British Council NUC partner on development of Verity curriculum. British Council NUC partner on development of Verity curriculum. And would also see here once again that after 8 years of saving, I still can't go to Hajj, intending pilgrim lament. And that happens to be on the cover page of Daily Trust as well. And Kebbi begins census of Islamia Al-Majri schools. Kebbi begins census of Islamia Al-Majri schools. And now taking a look at a Vanguard newspaper, it says that NSA launches global manhunt as Binance official flees custody. NSA launches global manhunt as Binance official flees custody. The Office of the National Security Advisor, ANSA, has called on the public and the international community to provide information that can assist law enforcement agencies in apprehending the executive manager of Binance for the African region, Mr. Nadim, who escaped from detention. And I will see another story here that says Okwama killings. Let displaced villagers return home. Niger Delta leaders beg President Tinubu. Let displaced villagers return home. Niger Delta leaders beg President Tinubu. NGE expresses concern over grain insecurity. NGE, that's the Nigerian Guild of Editors, has expressed concerns over grain insecurity, and this comes with 3 riders that says urges military to speak out on abduction of editor. Also, the second rider advises media against inadvertently giving stimulus to terrorists. Advises media against inadvertently giving stimulus to terrorists. And the last rider says commends Governor Umba's revolutionary project in Enugu. The Nigerian Guild of Editors NGE has urged the government at all levels to step up efforts in addressing growing security challenges across the country, in line with their constitutional responsibility of securing life and property. Apparently observing a slide in the security situation in the country, the professional body of editors and media executives, however, acknowledged efforts by the government to reverse the troubling trend. And that story you'd find on Vanguard newspaper this morning. And also taking a look at the latest news on Vanguard newspaper. It says here that Abure Ajaero must resign. Trade union veterans insist. Abure Ajaero must resign. Trade union veterans insist. Labour Party convention to go ahead amid Abure NLC fight. Labour Party convention to go ahead amid Abure NLC fight. Anxiety mounts over health status of 89-year-old Olubadan designate. Anxiety mounts over health status of 89-year-old Olubadan designate. Plateau governor rages over outbreak, loses to communal clashes. Plateau governor rages over outbreak, losses, to communal clashes. And now, mental illness. Kebbi offers free treatment to 23,542 patients. Kebbi offers free treatment to 23,542 patients. And I would also see here that still on the question of Lagos special status. You find the story on Vanguard newspaper for today. And lastly, Edo 2024. Igbenedion expressed reservation over Obaseki's handling of PDP affairs. Igbenedion expressed reservation over Obaseki's handling of PDP affairs. And before we move to the next story, here's a story that says no ransom was paid to secure release of Kuriga school children, says the federal government. No ransom was paid to secure the release of Kuriga school children, says the federal government. And also we see here that the federal government invites controversial Kaduna cleric for questioning and says Gumi not above law. Gumi not above law. Federal government invites controversial Kaduna cleric for questioning. And now on this day newspaper, on the cover page, it reads that UNSA, security agencies working with Interpol to apprehend fleeing Binance executive. Security agencies working with Interpol to apprehend fleeing Binance executive. Officers responsible for his custody arrested. Another writer says FIRS files tax evasion charges against a cryptocurrency company. The third writer says Binance failed to register operations, collect, remit various taxes to Federation. And also the last writer says that we are collaborating with Nigerian authorities to quickly resolve issue, company declares. My husband treated well, seemed comfortable, Binance executive's wife told UK newspaper. The headline reads, security agencies working with Interpol to apprehend fleeing Binance executive. And also here on this day newspaper, I would see that the federal government said no ransom paid for release of Kaduna school children. No ransom paid for release of Kaduna school children. And our President Tinubu approves creation of Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund to bridge infrastructure gap. President Tinubu approves creation of Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund to bridge infrastructure gap. Umahi, federal government saved 300 billion naira from redesign of second Niger Bridge bypass. Federal government saved 300 billion naira from redesign of second Niger Bridge bypass. And also Shatima says, despite tough times, we are appealing for Nigerian support. Despite tough times, we are appealing for Nigerians' support. Akpabio challenges IPU to speak up on Israeli-Gaza conflict. Now, taking a look at the Guardian newspaper, it says here on the cover page that United Nations Security Council for first time demands immediate Gaza ceasefire. U.S. abstains. UN Security Council for first time demands immediate Gaza ceasefire. U.S. abstains. After more than 5 months of war, the UN Security Council for the first time Monday demanded an immediate ceasefire after the United States, Israel's ally, which vetoed previous draft, abstained. And during unusual applause in the often stayed Security Council, all 14 other members voted in favor of the resolution, which demands an immediate ceasefire for the ongoing Islamic holy month of Ramadan. Wow, that story you'd find on the Guardian newspaper. And also looking at more stories, it says here that trafficking in persons, NAPTIP warns of fixtures, oil, gas job offers. NAPTIP warns of fixtures, oil, gas job offers. Also, developers, investors shift to small-sized apartment amid increased demand. Developers, investors shift to small-sized apartments amid increase in demand. Police nab 5 suspects over killing of officers in Delta. Police nab 5 suspects over killing of officers in Delta. NDLEA bust cocaine, heroin, meth syndicates in Abuja, Kano, arrest 4. NDLEA bust cocaine, heroin, meth syndicates in Abuja, Kano, arrest 4. And I will see that Nakon increases Hajj fare, set deadline for payment. Taking a look at Nigerian Tribune newspaper, the cover page reads, CBN begins sales of foreign exchange to eligible BDCs at 1,251 naira per dollar. Okay, now we see that there's a story here with a headline that reads, "Can I tell our First Lady that graduates drive cabs here too?" Can I tell our First Lady that graduates drive cabs here too? And now we see that presidency's 3-month ban on foreign trips. Presidency 3-month ban on foreign trips. President Tinubu set up Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund. And these are also recurring stories from other newspapers we've seen this morning. It also says here that Coronation Group, Access Holdings, Safaricom, M-Pesa Africa partner to explore remittances. And then would also see here that profit taking dips market by 0.5% as equities investors lose 289 billion naira. And now Otegbolu says government must consistently develop infrastructure to attract investment. Government must consistently develop infrastructure to attract investment. And on the Nation newspaper, we can see the cover page that reads, 6 Kaduna school children hospitalized after freedom. 6 Kaduna school children hospitalized after freedom. 6 pupils of Kuriga school freed from kidnappers' den are receiving treatment in Kaduna. The military said yesterday 131 of their mates have been handed over to the state government. And now we see another story here that reads, how IPOB, other terrorist groups are funded by NFIU. how IPOB, other terrorist groups are funded by NFIU. Shatima seeks support to overcome national challenges. Shatima seeks support to overcome national challenges. FEC OK's 1.3 trillion naira for 28 roads and bridges. Two members declined to serve on panel probing Shaibu. Two members declined to serve on panel probing Shaibu. Convention will hold tomorrow, says Labour Party. Convention will hold tomorrow, says Labour Party. Gowon lauds Tinubu's foreign policy for uniting ECOWAS. Gowon lauds President Tinubu's foreign policy for uniting ECOWAS. And now we see here the trial of man who accused former governor of Lagos State and also the Minister of Power, Fashola, of writing PEPC's judgment begins. The trial of man who accused Fashola of writing PEPC's, and that is the Presidential Election Petition Court judgment, begins. And I would also see another story here on the Nation newspaper that says, "Why I Am Not Celebrating My 60th Birthday" by Abiru. Why I Am Not Celebrating My 60th Birthday by Abiru. And Abiru is the senator representing Lagos East. Mukai Tokumbo Abiru has explained why he did not celebrate his 60th birthday yesterday. The senator said he was opting to support his constituents to mark the landmark rather than throwing a social party. And he spoke at his constituency office in Ikorodu, where he distributed thousands of food packs to his constituents to reduce the present economic burden on them. And now we would quickly take a look at Leadership newspaper with the cover page saying, "Banditry shake Gumi as questions to answer," federal government declares. And also, Enugu government to host Coal City half marathon. Friendly George targets second victory against Mali. Labour Party chairmanship, 200 youth groups, others write OT to back Balami. Amid amendment, Anyaruku-led group prefers new constitution. And now Okpebolo applauds President Tinubu over 6-month target to fix Benin Okene Road. Parliamentary diplomacy critical to world peace conflict resolution, says Akpabio. Parliamentary diplomacy critical to world peace conflict resolution, says Akpabio. And now that we've looked at the stories across the national dailies, at the half-hour mark, we'll definitely pick out some stories that we will thoroughly analyze, and the analysis will be done by our in-house analyst, Mr. Salman Salami. And also, it's important to tell our listeners that you can call in from 7:30 a.m. so that we can have enough time to take your calls and also take your contributions. The number to call is 0903 2229797, 0903-2229-797, or you can also call us on 0818 2222205, 0818 2222205. And as usual, we'd like to go on a very quick break at this time. When we are back, we will kickstart the analysis and dwell on selected stories and also give you in-depth view on the stories. Do stay tuned. When we're back, we'll pick up from where we left off. And yes, many thanks for staying tuned. And now we're back from our short break. We've definitely been clicking things for you behind the scene, and then we will be able to look at, majority of the stories across the national dailies this morning. Really important ones, topical issues that we can, have conversations on this morning. And also, it's a reminder to our Super Citizen listeners that you call in on 0903 2229797 0903 2229797 or 0818 2222 205 You can reach us on WhatsApp. You can send a voice note, you can send a message via WhatsApp on 0818 222225, and we'll take your opinions as much as we can. And now to kickstart the analysis, I'd like to welcome once again our in-house analyst, Mr. Salami. Good morning once again, sir.
Very good morning to you once again.
All right, thank you very much. And now we're going to kickstart this morning's analysis with one of the topical stories on the Punch newspaper that says, Binance chief, federal government contact Interpol, soldiers held over detainees escape. The Binance chief did escape sometime on Friday from lawful custody, and then he's the executive of a global cryptocurrency firm, Binance, by the name Nadeem Anjarwala. And now over to you, Mr. Salami. Sir, what do you make of this particular story? What do you think from your own perspective?
Very good morning to you, our Super Citizen listeners, once again. Today's review is a very serious one, starting from Binance's escape from lawful custody. This speaks to what is happening in our country. Why am I saying this? Our national security is threatened. Our economic and financial security is in jeopardy because Binance is Anwalo Nadir, the Binance chief, is being held for economic and financial crime. And this speaks to how we handle things in this country. It is befuddling. It surprises me that a suspect of that caliber could escape, quote and unquote, escape from lawful custody. It is more intriguing when we realize that soldiers were guiding him. This is an act of sabotage. It's a big crime against this country that one of the worst enemies of this country, who allegedly has committed a financial crime, could escape from custody. This is a shame. This is a national shame. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. Like we keep on saying that in Citizen or at Citizen FM, we owe our listeners the need to say it the way it is. We must report it verbatim. We must say it as it is. And we can be critical, we will be critical, and we are critical today. Critical because our national security is involved. Critical today because a big time alleged criminal who has really dealt with our economy and our financial standing has escaped, quote and unquote. How did he escape? I'm saying again, or I'm asking again, how did he escape? The answer is in the wings. But I call on General Chris Musa, who is the Chief of Defense Staff, to please, in the name of everything that is good, look into this. More so when a soldier is involved. Soldiers are not only disciplinarian, it is an organization imbued with integrity. Integrity is everything. Without integrity, we can hardly make any meaningful progress. And it is sad that this is happening to Nigeria. It is being done to Nigeria by Nigerians. I want to believe that the soldiers are complicit, very much complicit. I will not admit that the Binance executive chief played upon their own intelligence. I don't see any intelligence in this. Rather, I see collaboration against this country. And this is sad. It should not be swept under the carpet. It must be looked into and be dealt with decisively. This is the least we can do.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Salami, for that one. It's definitely a very sad story, like you said, like something like this happening, out of the blues, obviously was properly planned. And now we even move over to the story here on the Punch newspaper, and also it's in relation to another story on Daily Trust. It says here that Nigerians may spend over 725 billion naira on 2024 Hajj. It says that on the 2024 edition of the annual Hajj exercise to the Holy Land of Mecca and Medina, is following a directive by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, urging pilgrims to pay an additional 1.9 balance in accordance with current foreign exchange rates before the deadline of March 29, 2024. And now an intending pilgrim laments that after 8 years of saving, I still cannot go to Hajj. After 8 years of saving, I still cannot go to Hajj. Now, Mrs. Salami, I know yesterday we did touch on the story regarding the increment of the fare from 4 million naira to about to about 8 million naira, so to say, and then a balance of 1.9 million naira. And now we're seeing this right here, right now. What do you say in regards to this story?
This is something that I want the federal government to look into. Even though religion, this is a secular country, there is no state religion, so to speak. But we know that most Nigerians are either Muslims or Christians. No two ways about that. And for the Hajj Commission to, as it were, unilaterally increase the Hajj fare, which ordinarily is beyond the reach of the common man. Initially, it was 4-point-something million, but as we speak today, it is about 8 million. 8.5. 8.5, thank you. And to add insult to injury, they were now asking intending pilgrims to pay 1.9 million. And between now and 28 March, this, to say the least, is insensitive. It is. What is their justification or their reasoning or reason? That the exchange rate is such that there is the need for intending pilgrims to add or to cough out another over 1.9 million, and they should do this between now and 28 March before 12 noon. Is it easy? Yes. To those with money, it is. But 1.9 million naira within 3 days is, to say the least, very hard an amount for the average Nigerian to cough out. Don't let us forget the fact that it is a religious obligation. It is one of the pillars of Islam that Muslims should go to Mecca at least once in their lifetime, provided they can afford it. That is the proviso. But even at that, every devout Muslim wants to go to Hajj. It's a religious right. And it is something that I believe should be made accessible and affordable for the people, because it gives satisfaction to those people who are able to perform it. It is a life ambition to some, for some. It is a desire, burning one, that quite many Muslims would like to fulfill in a lifetime. And having a commission saddled with such responsibility, one would believe that they would, within they will do everything humanly possible to make it a very seamless exercise and a memorable one for the intending pilgrims. Whether they have been able to do it, whether they are doing it, your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Salami. Thank you so much for that pointer. But then there's this other story here on the Punch newspaper that says that federal government threatens Gumi with arrest, condemns reckless statement. It said it would not hesitate to make anyone answer for comment it believes to be provocative or reckless, as no one is above the law. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said this while addressing journalists at the State House, Abuja, after the Federal Executive Council meeting. Now, before I hand this over to Mr. Salami to, break down properly, it's important to reiterate the phone lines. You can call in on 0903 2229 797 0903 2229 797 or 0818 222205. And now over to you, Mrs. Salami.
Well, let us make this clear statement that the rule of law and not the rule of man should prevail in any conversation or conflict. Having said that, we believe that no one man is above the law. All of us are under the law. And, of course, the ground norm in this country is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, let no man think that is above the law. And as such, whoever is alleged to have violated the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should be invited. No person, no matter how highly placed, should be allowed to incite or make alleged reckless statements against this country. Nigeria is bigger than any individual.
Quite true.
No matter how one thinks he is under the law. Even Mr. President is under the law of the country. It is the rule of law. It's the law that rules and not man. And that is how it should be. And I want to plead with the federal government that they should take this issue of insecurity very seriously. There is a need for us to be very, very deliberate and intentional about it. We can't afford to be giving excuses every now and then. There is the need for us to be decisive.
That's true.
Enough of excuses.
Okay.
Let us sleep with our eyes closed. secure Nigerians.
Very important to stay alive in this country at this point in time. And now on the Punch newspaper, we see here the Labour Party dares NLC insist on Wednesday convention. The leadership of the Labour Party said it won't rescind the decision to hold its contentious national convention on Wednesday as planned. The development comes 2 days after the party formally petitioned relevant government institutions requesting an urgent intervention to protect the party against further aggression from the Nigeria Labour Congress. Now, Mrs. Salami, what do you think?
Well, it is unfortunate that the seeming controversy, it is more than a controversy anyway, that the seeming conflict between the Labour Party and affiliate of the Nigerian Labour Congress is degenerating, and it has degenerated to this level. The party is daring NLC that it will continue, it will go ahead with its planned convention on Wednesday. Well, it's a waiting game. Let us see who blinks first. Good enough that the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajaero, has been here and he has said a lot. What we will do is to replay our interview, the interview we had with him, and we will leave it to our teeming listeners to decide and come to their own conclusion based on what he did say. You will hear it from the horse's mouth.
Okay. Hopefully later in the course of today we'll replay the interview we had with the NLC president Joe Ajaero. And now let's even move on to the story on this day newspaper that says Shatima, despite tough times, we are appealing for Nigerians' support. The vice president, Senator Kashim Shatima, has appealed for the support of all Nigerians in ongoing government efforts at addressing the challenges bedeviling the country. He made the appeal yesterday in Abuja at the official inauguration and investiture of the Academy of International Affairs Nigeria, a private-led think tank that aims to contribute to foreign policy formulation and implementation in the country. Mr. Salami, what do you make of this headline that says, despite tough times, we are appealing for Nigerian support? And this was said by Vice President Kashim Shatima.
Well, I like intellectualism and I like scholastic engagement. I was bowled over yesterday when I saw the infant terrible, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. And it is gratifying to note that this statement that despite tough time, we are appealing to Nigerians for Nigerian support, made by the Vice President, Alhaji Kashim Shettima, yesterday. Yes, I concur. Nigerians should support this government. They have agreed, and it is gratifying to know that the government too knows that the times are tough, very, very tough. There is hardship in the land, but we as citizens, we are happy that we have a very, very sensitive government, a government that is sensitive to the yearnings of the people, a listening government, a government that prioritizes the citizen. This is how it should be. We as Citizen FM will plead that we Nigerians should still rally around the government, give them our support, but they should not take our support for granted. They should do the needful.
Okay, very, very important. Please do the needful to government. It's basically more like an outcry to the government as well. And here again, we see on this day newspaper that President Tinubu approves creation of Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund to bridge infrastructure gap. It's more like asking the government to do the needful, and here is a story, relegating that as well. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the establishment of new infrastructure development fund to facilitate effective infrastructure development across the nation's critical sectors, including agriculture, transportation, port, aviation, energy, healthcare, and education. And now over to you, Mr. Salami.
Well, when I heard yesterday that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the creation or establishment of the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund, I chuckled. Why did I chuckle? We have passed through this road before. There was PTF fund at a time. There was police equipment fund at a time. What happened or what became of those establishments or creation? Well, the government, most times, they always mean well for the country. But in the process of implementation, it oftentimes becomes a cesspool of corruption. We are pleading with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he should be circumspect and he should be more careful with the establishment or with the proposed establishment of this Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund. Yes, in theory, it looks good, very good on paper, but where we always have problem is at the level of implementation. Yes, there is the need to bridge the infrastructure gap. There is the need to provide certain basic needs, irreducible minimum things for our people. But in doing it, don't let us turn this again into a bottomless pit or an avenue for the boys to milk Nigeria again. Please, no, to turning this one into a cesspool of corruption.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Salami, for that. Here's the story, and which is the last story we'll be touching on this morning for the newspaper review. It says here that United Nations Security Council for first time demands immediate Gaza ceasefire, and the United States abstains. It says that after more than 5 months of war, the UN Security Council for the first time Monday demanded an immediate ceasefire after the United States, Israel's ally, which vetoed previous drafts, abstained. And during unusual applause in the often stayed Security Council, all 14 other members voted in favor of the resolution, which demands an immediate ceasefire for the ongoing Islamic holy month of Ramadan. And now, Mr. Salami, I believe you have a better opinion of this. Please do tell us what you think of this particular story.
United Nations. What is united now in the United Nations? What has happened in Gaza and Palestine issue and Israel in the last few months is what I would call a pogrom, and the whole world were watching, and they have just realized that there is a need for a ceasefire because we are in the month of Ramadan. Are we saying that in other months we could go on killing, but in the month of Ramadan, because of the sanctity of the month, there should be a ceasefire? I think life is sacrosanct. Life should be respected. No one man life should be taken without recourse to the law. But it is a thing of joy that the United Nations for the first time has now demanded immediate Gaza ceasefire, and of course with the policeman of the world, the US, abstaining. What does that tell you? Let there be peace in the world. Let us respect humanity. Let us respect the sanctity of life. We cannot create life, no matter the advance in science or modern medicine. It's only God that gives life. No man should take life. We need to allow peace to reign. Let there be peace in our world.
Let there be peace in the entire country and also all around the world. This is the point where we would call it a day for the newspaper review right here. Thank you to our super citizen listeners for listening to us through the review this morning, and also to Mr. Salami for as usual giving in-depth analysis and airing his own thoughts as well. It's important to know that we run the newspaper review every day 7 a.m. here at Citizen 93.7, and also would like our listeners to call in and talk to us. Let us know what your stream of thought is all about. And on that note, I'd like to call it a good day, and thank you to Mr. Salami once again.
Thank you very much, and we thank you to our wonderful super citizen listeners. Have a wonderful Tuesday.
All right, have a wonderful Tuesday, and stay tuned to the rest of the activities here on Citizen 93.7 FM.